Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our virtual AGA. In the booklets, there was some errors done in my report, so just disregard what is in the booklet. And the online version, I think Marlena said is going to correct it. Yep. So I have my team members here. Rhoda Hallgren has been hired as the Director of Community Health. We have Marilyn Jensen over here, the Director of Mental Health and Wellness. And Matthew Summerskill, the Director of Mobile Diabetes. And Dawn Pearson, where is she? She's hiding over there. Dawn is the Director of Early Childhood Development. So these are my team members, and there's others as well. Lorna Paul, who is office manager in Vander. So without these lovely ladies and gentlemen, our health team wouldn't be as successful as they are. So much thanks going out to my team. It's really amazing today that we're standing here before you, having a virtual AGA. We would have never thought that this type of thing would happen in our day, and it is. And I think everybody's made the most of how we have to do new business. This year is our 30th anniversary for Carrier Sekani Family Services. And out of those 30 years, I've been with the organization in different capacities for 23 years. And I have to say, I got my training ground from CSFS, because CSFS, I lived there many years. They had faith in me in being able to do various positions in the band, and so a lot of my training came from CSFS. With Carrier Sekani, we've had many blessings and we've had many hardships over the years. We had a meeting not long ago, and we were chuckling about when we first started at Carrier Sekani. We were called Northern Native, and we only had one cell phone, and the cell phone was probably about this big, and mainly Warner had it, eh? So whoever had to travel to Vancouver had to take that. The other thing is we had to share email addresses. So we only had one email address, and I think it was Angie who used to check it every day. And I didn't know how to print, and so I used to get the girls to print it for me. I remember I was in CSFS, and Jackie Thomas tried to teach me how to use the computer, and Elaine Sinclair, and I just couldn't get it. So when I started working for Carrier Sekani, I used to handwrite my letters and give it to Louise or Charlotte to type out for me. And it's one morning I get there, and there's a computer sitting on my desk, and Louise and Charlotte are kind of smirking, looking. And they said, Werner sent this to you, and he said you better start using it and that we can't type your letters anymore. And so I took a computer course and caught on really quickly, and today I couldn't do without a computer. As we've grown, so have our communities. So now, these last few years, we have health directors in the communities. And we still, there's a lot of things that we have to do to continue to be successful. So we need the cooperation and collaboration with our health directors in the communities. One of the things that my sister taught in the video that you saw before was about education and how she became a nurse and how much my late father valued education. And so do I value education. And working here for 23, 24 years, trying to put on different capacity building initiatives for community has been a challenge. Lately, the last few years, Mary's done a social work program, and I think that's quite successful. However, we still need to continue to do the capacity building in communities. So as we age, we need more community health training for the CHRs in community, resident care aid training, the chemical addiction program, and health director training. And we need the member bands to partner with us financially or by way of support letters, and also encouraging your members to participate in the capacity building initiatives that we have. The other thing that we've done for years, right since the health program first began, is having health scholarships. So what we do is provide $2,500 to health transfer community members who complete 1 year of post-secondary education. So if you complete a 4-year program, that's $10,000 in 4 years. This started, I think, way back in the days of Bob Smith when he was the health director. This year we've added 2 bursaries. We're going to have 2 nursing bursaries in collaboration with UNBC. The bursaries will be, one bursary will be called the Judy Sanford Bursary, and the other bursary will be the Sarah Hine Bursary. So we're trying to encourage our member communities to take the nursing field. I know for a fact the Nacausley band is very successful in having their homegrown nursing. They have, I think, 2 or 3 nurses right from their communities. And that's what we would like to see at Carrier Sekani. So therefore, we put these 2 bursaries together, and all of you know Sarah, you know Judy. together, those two ladies probably have over 100 years of nursing experience. Rhoda will be talking more about our treatment center. And lastly, before Rhoda begins a summary of the rest of our programs, I just wanted you all to know that we have a lady in Stalaco. Her name is Trina Nusky. She needs a kidney and is looking for a donor. So please, if you can, get tested, as you might be a match for her. She has young children and really needs that donor. So thank you. And this will be my last AGA report because I'll be retiring at the end of this year. I've really had some amazing times here with Carrier Sekani and all of the communities. As I mentioned, we've also had some hardships, and we've managed to surpass that, and today we're still here, so I'm really thankful for that.
Denise Zakuzet Skizet, say Rhoda Hallgren Satni. I'm Rhoda Hallgren. I'm from the Lake Bevy Nation and I belong to the Bear Clan. I've just recently become employed with Carrier Sekani Family Services, moving over from First Nations Health Authority. And I'll be providing a brief summary of the health programs on behalf of Mabel Louie, who almost made me cry because I've been working with her for a long time, so it'll be pretty difficult to not work with her. So, do I need someone else to do that, or will it work? Oh, do I point it here? There we go. Okay. So the first program on the slide is Maternal Child Health. So the Maternal Child Health program is available in all of the Carrier Sekani member communities. It is overseen by Erin Johnson. They offer pre- and postnatal supports in the communities, and that includes medical advocacy, which is usually the most utilized service within that program. They also offer Best Beginnings, which is a program that focuses on the overall well-being of children, physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. This program is overseen by Dawn Pearson. And this program consists of a team that works together involving speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, rehab assistants, physiotherapists, and earlier years outreach workers. Then, okay, I'm struggling with this. Here we go. There we go. Okay, bear with me. It's Hodeyushle Beyo, which is the Indigenous Head Start program in Vanderhoof. It was funded as part of the Aboriginal Head Start Association of BC. It's the only one that Carrier Sekani offers at the moment. It offers delivery of programming for children that is holistic and culturally relevant. And it's for children, and families that are served. It's holistic, and it kind of does wraparound care for those children. It's offered by the IHS coordinator, who is Brittany Dowling Weaver. And the CPNP program is also offered out of Vanderhoof. It is overseen by Dawn Pearson. It offers a variety of services to assist women in having healthy pregnancies and a smooth transition into parenthood. It is open to both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people accessing that service in Vanderhoof. So the ASCDP program is also overseen by Don Pearson. And they work with children between the ages of 0 and 18 years. Usually they are that service is accessed through some of the interactions with the schools. This program is fully voluntary and it's family-centered and it works in partnership with families. The early years preschool is located in Vanderhoof as well. And the Children's Oral Health Initiatives is a program that is funded from First Nations Health Authority, and currently it's only with Notley, Wotton, and with Stillatin. We hope to work with First Nations Health Authority to expand the program, but right now it's only available in those two communities, as FNHA did a kind of a transition with the program. Okay. The Health and Wellness Program is overseen by Marilyn Jansen, and the program is delivered by a multidisciplinary team. Its program services are offered in reserve communities and to our off-reserve member nations that reside in Prince George, Vanderhoof, Burns Lake, and Fort St. James. Currently, an area of focus for their program is establishing community education and support services for opioid crisis. Marilyn and the members of her team are working with primary care practitioners in an opioid steering committee to develop those strategies and how best to work with our member nations during this opioid crisis with supports and education services that meet the needs of each member nation. These are some of the other programs that are offered through the Health and Wellness Program. All services operate Monday to Friday from 8:30 to 4:30, except the Critical Incident Stress Management Program, whose goal is to be on site of a critical incident within 24 hours. These are some of the program highlights that Marilyn noted for this year. One of the successful highlights is, as Mabel referred to earlier, the new treatment center, which we've successfully acquired funding for. But they're still in talks around land acquisitions, so we're not entirely certain where it's going to be located at the moment. But it will be in our territory, so that's a really great thing. These are other program highlights that Marilyn wanted to highlight for things that have happened in this last year. Sorry, I don't read off the thing because, yeah, it's... and the Addictions Recovery Program. So this is a residential program that runs from May to October. It's a balance of traditional cultural supports and Western treatment strategies in a 28-day adult treatment program. It's offered 24 hours a day at Ormond Lake facility, which is located in Notley-Wotton territory. But during the winter months, they still offer a program that is mobile. So it's also available upon request in community. The Addictions Recovery Program highlights, so they developed and promoted a new program called Healing Spirits, which is located in Ormond Lake. Their vision was, that they had chose was Culture is Healing, and it's the guide that they use when presenting the Healing Spirits program and the Ormond Lake and in the community program. This is a program that I'm really excited that they've established. It's still in development. And the goals for this program, the goals that they've established thus far are they've hired a coordinator, a clinician, and a web developer. They've completed the first draft of the website that's been approved, and now they can further develop their website. Written consent for this site is almost completed. CSFS clinicians have earned the LGBTQ Two-Spirit certificates. The foundational research on ethics of working with adult members of the LGBTQ Two-Spirited community has been completed as well. Although that is something that's ongoing because research and ethics changes, so they have to keep up with new policies. And the research on available local resources has also been completed. So that's a really exciting piece of the work that we're doing. Wellness workers. So this is wording that we've kind of changed the NADAP wording, which is National Native Alcohol and Drug Abuse Program, which has kind of negative connotations. So we've changed the wording to wellness workers. However, they still do those same duties. And they can connect both on and off reserve members, on reserve and off reserve members with programs and services designed to assist with those who wish to recover from drugs and or alcohol. So currently, I think we have a couple vacancies though, so we're hoping to hire for those positions soon. The Indian Residential School Support Program. The past fiscal year, the IRS program was able to provide cultural support work to addictions clients through storytelling, drum making, paddle painting, and rattle making. We were also able to utilize some of the Healing the Healer Elders support, the mental health and addictions programs within the IRS program. And this support is really key. Providing cultural connection to the clinical work is really very foundational to what our clients actually need in this program. And in the coming year, the IRS worker will continue to provide support for appropriate referrals to individuals and families impacted by Indian residential school and day schools. Assist clients with completion and submission of the federal Indian Day School class action application forms, because it can be very daunting, so they will continue to do that work. And they'll be available to support in-person and online support services in confidence, of course. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Special projects. Oh no, this is office manager. Sorry, I don't have this one. This is Lorna's program. So essentially, Lorna runs the office in Vanderhoof, but she also works with all of the various other offices that we have from Prince George to Burns Lake. She's really very adept in doing this, and we're very lucky to have her in this role. The First Nations Health Benefits Program is one of the programs she oversees, and it's now Tiffany Ketlow who does most of the paperwork for that program. Yeah, there we go. Special projects under health. This is Charlotte Alfred who oversees this project. And so it consists mostly of making sure that the agreements with the communities are up to date and ensuring that we go out to community to communicate with chief and council what is included in their agreements, and to just basically meet with leadership to ensure that we are providing service provision that they need, and to give them kind of a place to voice any concerns that they may have. We've recently just went and got 3 signs. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 restrictions, we've had to push a lot of those meetings back. And so we're pushing to get community to meet with us by the end of September to get all of these one-year agreements signed. So this is also part of Charlotte's program. She works with all of the health managers and the newly hired health directors and community to ensure that they get their reports in on time so that it doesn't impact the dollars that flow into community. And she's, making sure that the health directors and managers know what they're doing and can kind of voice any concerns that they may have or any issues that they're coming up against relating to providing these reports and things like that. So we can offer appropriate support. This is the APLW program, which is out of Prince George. It's the only APLW the only worker that is housed under CSFS. All of the other APLWs throughout the province are housed within their respective health authorities. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility to make sure that this program is, the person employed in this program is gearing their support services to the needs of the community members that access the program. And I believe, okay, so I'm gonna need to wipe the microphone and get Matthew up here, but one other thing Mabel wanted me to note is that we do have Child and Youth Advocacy program right now with Tracy Michelle is heading that up. And that program was designed to reduce stress during investigations for a more coordinated response for sexual abuse cases. And CSFS has partnered with the RCMP, MCFD, Victim Services, School District number 57, amongst other organizations around Prince George. And the goal of this is to identify an interim location to ensure that this program continues, create a joint partnership process to develop a job description for that advocate and to provide that service. And the long-term goal is for a standalone facility for those services to ensure that our member nations, people within our member nations have somewhere to go to assist during sexual abuse cases. So it's, that's underway as well. It's in the very early developmental stage though. Thank you.
Denise, Sakuze, Skyize, thank you. My name is Matthew Summerskill, and I'm the Director of Mobile Diabetes at Carrier Sekani Family Services, and I'm honored to be here today to provide you this report. As Carrier Sekani celebrates 30 years, 18 of those have been with Mobile Diabetes Telemedicine Clinic. So thank you. If I think back to the time when I first came to Carrier Sekani, it was largely through a conversation with Sandra Tiji and her humor and her good nature that helped attract me to the cause. And if I think about when I first met Mabel, it was in the back room and she rolled up her sleeve and she went, "I have a cold." But she was in a white poofy coat and it was winter. And so thank you for your steadfast leadership over the years. The Mobile Diabetes Program provides a range of health services and follow-up and care to about 70 communities spanning over half of the province, from Fort Nelson to Haida Gwaii to our Nehemiah Valley in the south. We have an immense geography. And this past year, our team recorded some of our highest output totals in our history with about 2,400 patient contacts. To put this into perspective, about 10 years ago, we had about 300 or so in a year. So we've come a long way in terms of our service delivery. The team now has about 4 to 5 nurses and endocrinologists and an ophthalmologist that comes in via telehealth. So we are really pushing the limits of our funding. So this slide gives us an idea of some of our values and our services. At the center is our belief in safe, team-based, strength-based care. By this, we mean we have a belief in that everybody with diabetes has strengths and is capable of living long, healthy lives with the proper supports and the proper belief in place. It's just a matter of discovering and pulling those strengths out. We have another bubble here represented by screening and education, not just for diabetes, but for a range of health topics linked to diabetes. We talk about things like kidney health, eye health, foot health, sexual health, mental health. All these things are linked in some way. So screening helps identify those situations that may need further help through our team or through another service. I mean, obviously we're not sex therapists, et cetera, but we certainly can identify those partners that we can get people linked to some of the care they may need. Our annual visits are represented by another bubble. So visits to those 70 communities where a lot of that screening and education takes place. People remember our program and want our service back because they learn and they report feeling respected and heard. And these are important when we talk about things like cultural safety and sensitivity. Follow-up represents another one of our bubbles. So when we talk about follow-up, we never used to do follow-up call-outs, but we do now because the need is there. The challenge is that we have 70 communities, and so the need outweighs our current capacity, but we have a proposal in place that we hope can change that. Community partnerships are everything. Without these, our clinic has no basis to operate at all. And I had a picture there of an eagle in the right corner on our previous slide, and that slide represents the wisdom of our elders and our leaders who first established our program back in the early 2000s. Mabel, Sandra Tiji, Werner, and others. Again, we'd like to acknowledge Sandra Tiji, Deputy Chief, for her long-standing work in advocacy to MBTC. It's never forgotten. And again, when we look at when we look at the number of communities that we had above here, there were 70, so it represents an area about the size of France. Now, our highlight goals of the past year must always be looking at health status of people. So if we can help people attain a better health status, whether that be through a blood pressure measure, a blood sugar measure, a confidence in diabetes, then we know that we are doing the right job and we have ways of measuring this. So these are all things that we measure from appointment to appointment, and our evidence shows that we are making a difference with those who we are in touch with. Telehealth has increased by more than double. This means more people are getting access to the health that they need than they were before. Holistic care is something that we take seriously. For instance, spending good amount of time with our clients, welcoming health partners like traditional healers, massage therapists, and others, anything that contributes to the overall wellness and accessing different spheres of health. It's not just about our Western approaches. So here we have some of our diabetes nurses in action. Marika on the left there reviewing diabetes risk factors with the client, and Elizabeth making new friends with a CHR in the north. Sagar, again, reviewing with someone how to do blood sugar testing, someone who never believed they could. And again, it's a belief in the strengths of people. Not looking at diabetes as problems, but bringing out strengths within. It's a key thing we have to focus on. The future of our program must be based around more client contact. We know mobile diabetes is a proven program, so if we are to lower the risks of things like amputations and heart attacks, blindness for Indigenous people into the future, then programs like ours need more influence and they need more funding. And our funding partners must not ignore results and outcomes. Secondly, we must grow and expand with our holistic wellness partners and continue to push the agenda when it comes to access to best medications and technologies. There are amazing technologies out there when it comes to diabetes, but government and whatnot need push to fund them. And Indigenous people with diabetes should not have to settle for second best. Finally, advocacy is at the heart of what we do at Carrier Sekani. So our programs that support healthy beginnings, culture, healing, skills development, for instance, all contribute to overall health, and it is diabetes prevention in action. Masai, thank you.
A couple quick notes that Mary Tiji had asked me to mention just for future plans coming up with Carrier Sekani. So one being that Carrier Sekani is currently working on, we're in the kind of the development proposal phase of a Carrier Sekani Daycare in Prince George. So we'll keep everybody updated about that. And then the other one that she wanted me to mention was the Center for Pregnant Mothers that are struggling with addiction. So kind of something similar to a Harmony House that is also in the process of development and things like that. So just Mary wanted me to mention it for you. Okay.
It is quite a significant achievement that you've upheld, Mabel, in Carrier Sekani territory. I think I met you when I was 18. That would be about 37 years ago. It'd be the same time Chief Louie, Maureen Louie, was the receptionist at the Tribal Council. So I know I met Mabel in the political arena. I think both of us were elected on to the Carrier Sekani Tribal Council executive. I was at a very young age anyways, but certainly we had some really good mentors and good teachers from our elders gone before us, and you have certainly taught me quite a bit as well. Being patient and always being relaxed, and sometimes impatient too, so I get that trait from you. But you definitely had the passion to see change in our communities. And I think it started back, as people mentioned earlier, with CSFS. You were the first lady that the elders really relied upon to help them organize themselves into the first child welfare committee within our territory. And from there, I think you continued to grow. Again, I think CSFS member would agree that you are their heart, that you spent a lot of time in that community to assist the chief and council in moving their agendas forward. I also hear that you always provided 10% of your bingo winnings to the elders at the CSFS Society, which obviously shows your generosity. You're also the housing coordinator at CSFS and was behind the huge project of the multiplex. You also been a chief for your community 1 term, or was it 2 terms? 2 terms, yes. So obviously you've had that experience and that connection with being a technician, but also know the political landscape, which is so important for many leaders to be connected to the technical aspect that are required to make sure that some of the priorities and agendas of nations move forward. You've also had several volunteerism, board to a Slinia store. I think you're still doing that. You were also instrumental in starting the BC Aboriginal Childcare Society alongside with myself as founding members. 3-year term as executive board treasurer to the Tribal Council, as I mentioned, and to Carrier Sekani Family Services. You were also a 3-year term member of the Provincial Child Care Council, appointed by the minister, and served as a year on Central Native and Interior. So definitely you're very well-rounded in your profession, and you have made significant changes within the lives of many, many Carrier and Sekani people and nations. I think without you, it would have been that much more difficult to move the agenda, but you were always able to have people come to the table, Mabel table. and in your own way, take the time to listen to some of the concerns and help unpack some of those concerns so that we could move forward. Certainly in those days, we did not have very much resources from government. Every time there was money available, government would throw it in the middle of the table and watch us as First Nations try to get our piece of the pie. And that we've been part of too. And it wasn't an easy part to really meet the need of many, many people. But through your work and advocacy, we are at a time where we don't have to fight each other anymore. We have to look at each other as one single people from First Nations that have been interrelated for many years, Priscilla reminded me of the importance of the interrelationships we have among each other as carrier people when you said that your grandma was from Hagwilget. Well, I think, Mabel, you're also a derivative of the Wet'suwet'en, as I am too. My grandmother is from Morristown, so we're all interrelated, and we need to keep that in mind, and you're always reminding us of those interrelationship. You also hold a hereditary name, which you've brought back many, many of the old traditions to not only your community, but to many communities. And hence, at CSFS, we do have these teaching and learning potlatches every 4 years, and it's with people like you to guide us through those processes is what makes it successful. Certainly, you've did a lot of work in both child welfare and most recently in health. I couldn't believe the fact that you're actually going to retire. She was bugging me to retire about 2 or 3 years ago. I said, you're not ready to retire yet. But we did start at the same time, and I would suggest to all of you that she's not going to retire. We'll have her back to do special projects and to do some mentorship programming. Knowing Mabel, she'll probably get restless in 2 weeks and ask for a job back. So Mabel, Kasai, thank you very much for your help. And I'm sure you'll still continue to mentor many of the young leaders that you've already trained within your department, and even advocate for more of our people to take over these positions, because this lady behind me is also getting old.
Ms. Eva. Mabel has also been instrumental in many ways in the community. But first of all, I have to say, when I first started working for Mabel, she was the one that interviewed me. And then I came to work for CSFS for one small little contract, one small little job, and that was a cultural support worker to assist with the CHRs. That didn't last very long, because then all of a sudden she says, can you do this one little thing? Can you take care of the youth? Can you take care of the elders? Can you take care of FASD? Can you take care of the tobacco initiative? Can you do some community health programming? Can you start these cultural activities in community within a week? So it was just basically, you just do it, and working for Mabel. And I remember, never met a woman like this one, just formidable and tough. And I'd come to Warner's and I said, that's it, I'm done, I quit. I cannot work for this woman. She is just really, really, really tough and just would accept no BS. And Warner says, you'll get used to her. You'll get used to her. Just go with it, you'll get used to it. So I did, I got used to it, and left her as soon as I could. No, I'm just kidding. But I think Mabel's heart has always been in the community, so many of her ideas, it was up to her staff and I being one of being with her at the time. There was things like Healing the Healers that she had started, and that was really for the healers to reclaim their rightful roles as elders in community, and they themselves become healers. She oversaw that program. I think now that we have the Healing the Healers 2.0, all of this is some, Mabel's envisioning what she wanted for the best for a community. I do know that Mabel is really, in many cases, most oftentimes, the face of the executive. So while we're out busy doing the work, Mabel always takes the time to go to community to find out what they're saying. She's the one that goes to meet with chief and council, usually on behalf of the executive. She's also, I think, when you look at where we're at, situated even with our research department, when I first started, that was one of the things that both Mabel and Warner said, oh, Mary, you're going to be going out to all these sessions throughout BC to say that we can take care of our own health research. And that was phenomenal, because now all the research hubs that are for Aboriginal health, from SFU to UVic to UNBC, came from that work that we did, that Mabel and Warner envisioned. So now the universities that have a piece of the Aboriginal research pie when it comes to health came from the advocacy and the push from CSFS, and Mabel, of course, instrumental in that. Also very instrumental, Mabel, like nobody can say no to this woman, but we ended up going to before the First Nations Health Authority was established, there was the plan to have First Nations services go to the province, not to a First Nations entity. So Mabel, of course, drags me along, Mabel and Warner, go to this meeting. So we went to this meeting in Tsleil-Waututh, and that was when the decisions were going to be made. Dr. Evan Adams was there, the First Nations Leadership Council, John was there, like everybody that was going to make the decisions. Of course, Doug Kelly was there. And Mabel and I come in, and it felt like the decision was already being made. But Mabel said, no, Mary, you're going to go up there and speak. So she said, this is what we're going to say, and this is what we're going to do. So we said, absolutely not will we have health services be transferred to the province. It has to be transferred to our people, much like we're fighting for in child and family. So we were able, lobbying the floor, to get a resolution that that meeting would be now held in the north, because we said you did not consult enough. So we were able to get that big meeting in the north, and we were able to stop the health transfer to go to the province, and then that was starting the work of the First Nations Health Authority. So it's her tenacity and that thing that really scared me when I first started working for her, the strength and the perseverance. That's how many things started within not only CSFS, but in the province of BC. She also was instrumental in the CEDAR project, which is the only study of its kind anywhere in the world that links an impact of residential school, and we can actually study that. So that was amazing, because from that, we ended up with the HIV/AIDS task force. Again, that was something that Mabel believed in, and she said, Mary, you need to do this. So we're the ones that started the HIV/AIDS Northern, the task force and the strategy. Also a leader in early childhood development. As Warner said, she was at BC ACTS for many years. She also, of course, the Aboriginal patient liaison, the cultural support work that we do now. This was all from Mabel because of who she is as a hereditary chief, but as a mother and as a visionary and as a leader. I think that the strongest thing I think what we all learned from Mabel, though, is how to stand strong in the face of adversity, how to stand strong as a woman when there's challenges. She's taught us so much. She's shared her knowledge when it comes to potlatch. She's been a mentor to me. She's been, in many cases, because I can't always be with my mother, like my best friend. She's held me up when I didn't even think I could breathe. And that's what she's done. She's been so strong for so long that you forget that she is also just a woman. I can't say just a woman, but she's also, she has had her challenges and is going through challenges right now, Mabel, and I want you to know that we're all with you, and that we'll never let you go. You'll always be part of the family. And I want to thank you for all the knowledge and for the love and the support and the mentorship and the guidance that you've provided to me personally. I know that I would not be up here without you. You've done so much for all of us, staff, and you've done so much for Indigenous women across Canada. So thank you, Mabel. And even though you think you're leaving us, I know that I'm already telling you that you're going to come work for me so I could be your boss one day. Thank you, Mabel, and I love you.
When the video was on with Barbie and Sarah, I was thinking, oh, so I wasn't the only one that she called. Apparently she called many, many people in this organization, because I also got those late night phone calls. I'm on Gordon Drive in Kelowna, and I'm not sure where I'm going. Could you help me? Or I'm on the south side, and I think I can get across without going across the ferry. Do you know a back road? And so, yeah, Mabel, your story is out now in that regard. Mabel spoke about education. And I remember when, it's 20 years ago, and Mabel told the story today about getting her first computer. And I remember that time. I remember the brick, the cell phone that we shared in the office. And as I came into the organization, there was this sense from Mabel that she could be a really good mentor for me. I'm not First Nations, but there was this Mabel was always that person that passed the culture to me, and I really, really appreciated that from you. Thank you. And then going the other way, a lot of people are scared by the financial numbers. They don't understand them, and so they take a real back seat and they just sort of walk away from them. And Mabel never did that. She marched into my office and said, I don't understand this. I need you to teach me. And of all the people in this organization today, she's the person who can make those financial decisions. She can look at a set of financial statements, she can read them, she can understand them, and she makes good decisions for your community. So Mabel, thank you for being the student and the teacher. I really, really have enjoyed my years with you.
Mabel, when we talk about carrier culture, we talk about knowledge holders, and really that's what you have been to this organization. So I know for me, each time going into a meeting, I'm able to say, Mabel, what's the history on this? And you'll give me that history. And so then I have a better understanding of what we're trying to do. And then on the flip side, each time I get it wrong with where accreditation or other things started, you would give me heck about, you're forgetting where primary care started. You're forgetting where accreditation started. Don't you remember ARP, Travis? Things like that. And then as well, the big thing for me has always been going into meetings with FNHA, and everyone's talked about your strength in those meetings. And I always felt like we were doing good cop, bad cop, because I would try to be nice and you would come at FNHA, and I thought, Mabel, are we doing this on purpose, that it's good cop, bad cop? But I mean, that to me will be the things that I will miss, those meetings where I had your support, especially when you're on my side and things. So for that, I do say thank you. And thank you from my family as well. Like my daughters have grown up within this organization, and some of the leadership here that has welcomed them in. I really need to say thank you for that, Masai.
There's not much that I can say that hasn't been said. I'll just say a couple quick things. I'll never forget one of my first meetings, actually, where we were all there, and someone said, where's Mabel? And we're all looking around, and Warner said, Marlena, go look for her. She's probably lost. That's one of my introductions. But Mabel, just to echo some of the things that have been said, you truly have been a teacher in so many ways of how to be a strong woman, really. So many times you'll tell me, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Or you'll start telling me a story. We'll be talking about a problem and she'll start telling me a story. And she's told me it a few times and I think, oh, I better just listen because there's something in here for me. Thank you, Mabel. You have truly been like a mother as well to me. And we're gonna miss you, but we're also gonna be chasing you around. We love you.